In 1603, both Japan and parts of Europe were hit hard by repeated outbreaks of plague and widespread famine at the same time. In Japan, ongoing local conflicts and civil unrest made survival extremely tough, while in Europe, crop failures, food shortages, and disease spread through towns and cities. And growing up meant seeing starvation and death everywhere. Year 1349, second wave of the Black Death. 1349 brought a horrifying second wave of the Black Death across Europe. Some cities lost 2/3 of their population, villages vanished entirely, and areas that were starting to recover were devastated again. The 100 Years' War raged on, spreading armies, destruction, and disease across the continent. And your chance of survival was only about 40 to 50%. Childhood meant constant fear, hunger, and watching people around you die, with almost no support or protection. Year 1932, the Great Depression. 1932 was the peak of the Great Depression. In the United States, unemployment hit 25%, banks failed, and families lost homes and farms. The Dust Bowl destroyed crops across the Midwest, forcing mass migration and spreading poverty. Across the globe, economic collapse fueled unrest and the rise of extremism in Europe, paving the way for World War II. Year 1960, the Great Chinese Famine. In 1960, China experienced the deadliest famine in recorded history, caused by the Great Leap Forward combined with droughts and poor agricultural planning, killing 15 to 30 million people.
During the Great Leap Forward, Chairman Mao forced millions of peasants to stop farming and instead build so-called backyard furnaces to produce steel. Families melted down their pots, pans, and tools to feed the furnaces, but the metal that came out was basically useless scrap. Meanwhile, the fields were left untended, harvests collapsed, and with fewer hands growing food, famine spread rapidly across China.
Year 1918, Spanish flu. The Spanish flu pandemic in 1918 hit just after World War I and infected roughly 1/3 of the global population, killing 50 to 100 million people. Surprisingly, it targeted young, healthy adults, including many parents, leaving countless children orphaned. Year 1943, World War II. 1943 was one of the deadliest years of World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad alone caused nearly 2 million casualties, and cities across Europe and Asia were repeatedly bombed. The Holocaust reached its deadliest phase, exterminating millions in concentration camps, while civilians faced forced labor, starvation, disease, and constant fear. Year 1914, World War I. 1914 marked the start of World War I, introducing trench warfare, machine guns, artillery, and poison gas that killed millions. Battles like Verdun and the Somme caused mass casualties, while civilians suffered bombings, refugee crises, and food shortages. By 1415, Europe was deep into the 100 Years' War, and violence affected nearly every region. The Battle of Agincourt killed thousands in a single day, while famine and recurrent plague outbreaks continued to strike northern Europe. Villages were looted, homes destroyed, and trade routes unsafe. Year 1347, the Black Death. In 1347, the Black Death arrived in Europe via merchant ships from the east, spreading so fast that almost half of Europe's population perished in a matter of months, with total deaths over the next 4 years reaching 75 to 200 million worldwide. Cities emptied, trade slowed, economies collapsed, and armies and refugees carried disease further. Year 536. 536 is often called the worst year to be alive in human history. A massive volcanic eruption filled the sky with ash, dimming sunlight for 18 months and dropping temperatures by 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius, destroying crops across Europe, the Middle East, and parts of Asia. Famine killed livestock and left people without food. And just a few years later, the Justinian plague swept through, killing 25 to 50 million people.